Okay, this video here is about how the Adult Protective Services Department of the Multnomah County Aging and Disability Services forced me, I'm 78, they forced me into an adult care home. And they paid the guy $8,650 a month while he pretended to care for me. And the fact of the matter is, he didn't do not one damn thing for me except occasionally cook. And I was the cook. I did most of the damn cooking because he was worthless as a cook. These folks never had the meals that I cooked for them: spaghetti and meatballs, pineapple upside down cake, chicken pot pie, beef pot pie, there's all kind of applesauce. I made homemade applesauce and ice cream on top of Debbie cookies, and stuff like that. They never had any vegetables to speak of. They didn't get any kind of desserts. There was no juices. There was watered down Kool-Aid. The guy was a cheapskate. He only gave them frozen shit to eat. Frozen this, frozen that, frozen every damn thing. And he didn't even have any knowledge of how to work the damn microwave or how to cook out of it. What he did is just put the stuff in the microwave, thaw it out, and thought that that was all he had to do, and then give it to them to eat. And he gave that shit to me for about a week, and I got violently ill with diarrhea. I had to go to the emergency room. After that, I started buying my own food, and I supervised it being cooked because this guy, he's from Nigeria. Tall, skinny little bastard. He picks his nose, scratches his head, his balls, his ass, any sore that he's got on his body, and then he plays with the food. He doesn't wear gloves, he doesn't wear a hat or anything, and none of the other Nigerians that he hires, which he hires nothing but Nigerians. He's prejudiced against white people. He won't even let a white person drink out of the same cup, or out of the same glass as he does. Honestly, I kid you not. He never cooked any meals that were any good, except for the meals he cooked, him and his wife cooked for their parties downstairs in the basement. And when I tried to leave the damn place in my wheelchair, he pulled my wheelchair out from underneath me and told me I couldn't go anywheres. And I told him he was full of shit. This is America, and I'm not a prisoner here. He put alarms on all the doors so that if you try to open the door up, it would be alarmed. This guy's name was Roba Allo. And he's a real scoundrel, I'm telling you. He didn't do a damn thing for me, but yet in his reports to Protective Services, he puts down that he changes my diaper, he feeds me, he does all this shit for me, and it's just a bullshit lie. Okay? This is how these people operate. $8,650. I refused to pay the rent, so they paid it for me. $650 out of my Social Security check. Yeah, this bastard gets $8,000 a month, plus he gets $650 out of 3 people's Social Security checks. That's pretty lavish for a bum. And the place did not comply with disability. The doorway had this high. You had to bump over it. About 2 inches. This wide. So when the guy abused me and I called the cops on him, when he wouldn't let me out, I called the cops on him. He pulled the wheelchair out from underneath me 4 times before I called the cops on him. I called the cops on him, and the cops came and they told him that no, he had to let me leave if I wanted to. And if I wanted to come back, I came back. If I didn't, I didn't. Okay? So he was afraid to lose me as a client, so he disabled my motorized wheelchair. And he also didn't want to buy a van that would lift my wheelchair up. Okay? So I filed a complaint against this guy in August for abuse to me. He physically abused me on a number of occasions and physically abused Michael Winters. So when I filed a complaint on him, he served me with an eviction notice. And the Protective Services Division of the Multnomah County Aging and Disability stopped payment on the funds that were keeping me there. Now, the end result was that I was going to be booted out onto the street after being used for a year and 6 months to enrich this Nigerian to the tune of over $100,000 some dollars. And what he was doing was paying off the Gresham Police Department not to forward any complaints against him into the system. So I got 3 pages of complaints from residents on this guy. And the police did not enter any of them into the proper channels for them to be investigated and looked into by an investigator and or the district attorney's office. So this guy, this guy that works with this guy, blacked the eye of Michael Winters and punched him in the ear and made his ear swell up really big with blood clot. Okay, now I seen this. Me and my son both saw this. This is not a figment of our imagination. We saw this happen. And I can't file a complaint with the Gresham Police Department. They refuse to take a complaint from me for this abuse. I've called them up and I've asked them. The Gresham, Oregon Police Department is crooked, it's corrupt, it's immoral. It will not take a complaint from me and my son for the abuse that I suffered while I was there. Okay? And the abuse that we saw them do to Michael Winters. We saw them do that. We were there at the time. Now, here I am, living in my little car now. They booted me out. This is abuse of an elder. This is elderly abuse, what they're doing. Okay? It's a criminal act. I'm living in a vehicle. And last night, it was like 24 degrees below zero, 24 degrees, period. It was freezing. It was freezing in this car. And here I am, you know, I can't walk. I have difficulties with a lot of things. And if it wasn't for my son being here with me and taking care of me, God bless him for that. He says I never thank him for anything that he does for me, but I do. I thank him in many, many ways. I'm hoping someday I'll be able to reward him further. But as it is, here we are living in this car. They won't give us any money at all so that we could rent someplace, okay? But they gave that scoundrel $8,000 per month, and that scoundrel didn't deserve that kind of money. So here we are. They won't give us even half of the money they gave him so that we could get housing. They don't care. They only cared when they could use me. And they used me for a year and a half. And I don't know how much of that money went to kickbacks, but I suspect that it did because they literally kidnapped me and brought me there. And then what they did is they crunched up my vehicles, my motorhome, my car, my station wagon, and my trailer so that I couldn't have any place to live on my own. They did that on purpose. It has to do with the childhood predators that are in Scappoose, Oregon. And that's the reason why me and my son went to jail, and that's the reason why our vehicles got crunched up, and that's the reason why they spirited me away and brought me way out here in Multnomah County from Columbia County. Literally kidnapped me and stuck me in this place. Okay? Now, I left there because of the difficulties there were in staying there, and so I'm out on the streets now, and they could care less, because this is actually abuse to an elderly citizen, is what this is, okay? And if there were any lawyers around worth anything, they would pick up on this case, because this is outrageous to put a man with my disabilities. Yeah, I can't walk. My left arm is dead. My right leg is dead, and my left leg is on its way to being, and so is my right arm. But as it is, I can move everything in some fashion, but I have no strength to pick up or carry anything, or to hold anything in my hands, or to do anything with my fingers. It's very, very difficult for me to put things together, like a zipper, things like that, things that are small, because of this nerve disorder that I have. Now, had it not been for my son, I would be out on the street by myself with this. But because my son has mitigated these circumstances, they don't feel like there's any kind of necessity for them to do anything for me further. But they won't pay my son a good salary. They won't pay him $8,000 a month to take care of me. No, they won't even give him $4,000. They won't even give him half of that. They won't even give him $2,000 a month to take care of me. But that's how much it cost. Now, the question is, if my son is willing to take care of me, how come he can't get $8,000? That's the question, folks. Now, I would urge people who see this video to call up Multnomah County Aging and Disability and question them about that, because that's crooked. That's really crooked what they're doing. I will put the number, the telephone number, in the description, so you can call it if you want to. Last night, it was 24 degrees here in Portland, Oregon, in northwest Portland. And believe me, I thought my feet were freezing. And it was a good thing. We had bought a battery a couple of months ago and kept it in the car, but we didn't ever install it. And we needed it because the battery that we had in there was just a piece of crap. So, folks, we can't let these people treat the elderly and the disabled like this. Congress and Biden gave each state billions for housing the poor, the disabled, and the elderly. Billions. Where is that money? Why aren't they creating housing for the poor and the disabled and the elderly? There are so many people living on the streets that shouldn't be on the streets. I don't do drugs. I have a drink occasionally with my son. He doesn't do any drugs. And here we are being treated as if we did. And when people think about homeless people, they automatically think, oh, drug addicts, alcoholics, and the like. No. That is not true. Now, maybe at first when they hit the streets, they're not drug addicts or whatever, but a lot of people fall into drugs to mitigate the circumstances of how much pain and suffering they're going through. And believe me, it is a lot of pain and suffering to go through, to live on the streets like this. And a lot of strong people wouldn't be able to do it. There was just no way a lot of people could do it. And I'm living in a very trendy part of northwest Portland where there are dogs everywhere. which I like, and new apartment houses everywhere. And they're expensive, very expensive. They're mostly steel and stone and glass. Not something that I would rent, I'm sure. I like wood and glass. And anyways, folks, I just wanted to let you know the latest of what's going on with me. I'm going to file a 42 USC 42 1983 lawsuit, or 42 USC 1983 lawsuit on the county of Columbia, the city of Scappoose, the sheriff's department, and the police department. And I'm going to file it in U.S. District Court here in Portland, Oregon. I have had people tell me that someone should start a GoFundMe, or I should, to help me to get some funds to get off the streets. But I don't know how any of that works or anything. And maybe somebody who hears this video who knows how to do that. My name is Norman Wicks Sr. I'm 78 years old. I live in Portland, Oregon. My email is normwicks.nw@gmail.com. I have a physical address in Portland, Oregon. I don't have it present at the moment, but anybody can email me or call me at 971-295-4661. I'm sorry. Sometimes my brain fails me. If somebody knows how to get something like that started, that would be really great. As it is, I sit here and I take lots of pills, and my son cooks for me. He's a good cook, and he actually cooks meals for me out of our trunk, which I find remarkable. And he's such a nice person. He wants to have a life, and it's hard for him to have one, having to take care of me under this situation. So maybe I can get something going. Anyway, goodbye. Thank you.